All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode of The Truth with Ben Jokes. I would like to officially welcome you to 2025, a brand new year, and to thank you for your engagement and support all through the year 2024. Now, as individuals, I pray and hope that everyone connected to this platform would have a prosperous 2025. But as a nation, sadly, I am not hopeful. I don't have the faith enough to pray for that. I am not hopeful that 2025 will be better than 2024 because I have looked at the numbers. I have examined part of the 2025 budget. I listened to Tinubu's media chart. I followed the predictions of the United Nations and World Health Organization about the year 2025, and the optics are not good at all for Nigeria. Daily Post Nigeria dropped this update. Police refused to rescue abducted priests until I paid 1 million naira for logistics, Father Ebube Monso. And Temitope wrote, so I pay tax faithfully for years, and when I need the service of the state, they tell me to bring money for logistics. Well, that is the failing nation Nigeria for you. This is the country that we have found ourselves. How does one have hope in a place like this? And few hours ago, the Australian government dropped a statement that is capable of discouraging any foreign investor from stepping foot in this country. In fact, this statement might make more investors to leave this country. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that statement, a worldwide disgrace hit Tinubu. For the past 19 months, this regime has witnessed several embarrassments, both self-inflicted and reactions from everywhere around the world. But this particular one that dropped just hours ago, hits differently. Tinubu has been awarded the third most corrupt leader on the planet Earth as it stands. And Nigerians did not only affirm that award, they began to wonder who the first and second most corrupt could be. How is it possible that they beat Tinubu to the first and second spots? Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you these videos. One of the most overlooked abnormality in this country was discussed here. Please, let's watch this till the end.
Grid collapse issue is an embarrassment to the country, and it's an embarrassment to the power sector. And those of us that are stakeholders in this sector, we get worried. When you look at the grid collapse, there are issues you will raise. Number one, the transmission company of Nigeria. What are they doing? You have to ask one question. How are contracts awarded to build these grids? Who execute those contracts? When the contracts are awarded, those who get those contracts, are they the people using qualified personnel to execute the jobs? Then you come to the issue of security of infrastructure. Because the other time they said the transformer was vandalized or transmission lines were vandalized. I heard of recent where they said the National Security Advisor's Office is trying to look at security of infrastructure in the power sector. I heard that the Minister of Power set up a committee for that. But the question you will ask is, what is the makeup of these committees?
What would you want to be the makeup of the committees?
Yes. Why I ask that question is this. Number one, privatization of the power sector was predicated on the basis that consumers will pay better if they are well served.
Affordable, you mean?
Yes, if it's affordable. Then the question now is, are consumers part of these committees? In setting up that committee, number one, who is the chief security officer of the local government councils where these facilities are installed? Is the local government council chairman. Are they part of the committee? Who is the chief security officer of the community where this infrastructure are installed? The traditional rulers. Are they part of the committee? Now, you don't have the traditional institutions represented who are the chief security officer of the communities. You don't have the local government council chairman represented who are the chief security officer of the local government councils. Then the consumers that feel the brunt of this darkness are not represented. And don't forget, the percentage of metered consumers in this country is very insignificant. When you look at the unmetered consumers, and these people exist at the local government areas, the communities and the states, each time grid collapses and there is darkness, when the grid comes on, these consumers are billed as if there was light during the period of darkness, and they are not part of it. Then let me now tell you why I am demanding or making the statement about how the committee is constituted. The reason is this. The morality, I don't think the federal government or even the Ministry of Power will have the morals to engage community leaders, traditional rulers and local government council chairmen. Why do I say that? Section 34(1)(f) of the Electricity Act 2023 provides that regulation should be fair, balanced, and just to the consumer, the investor, the licensee. Where is fairness? When the consumer, at inception of privatization, the discourse we are to provide meters, they were to provide infrastructure that they will use to provide electricity, and then they get paid by the consumers based on electricity they've distributed to them. But what do we see now? The consumers buy the transformer, buy pole, buy wire, even pay for them to be energized, and the government looks away. The regulator looks away, irrespective of the fact that the regulator have what they call network expansion investment policy. They look away. And then when these consumers have contributed their money and provided this infrastructure, you now see a distribution company take it over and use it to start generating revenue without refunding the investor.
You heard that. This is one of the reasons Dele Farotimi says we have become as slaves. Citizens will not have lights altogether for like 10 to 12 days out of the 30 days in a month. And at the end of the month, they will pay for every single minute of the 30 days. Then problems hit the electrical facilities like poles, cables, transformers. Citizens will call on PHCN for days, sometimes weeks. PHCN won't show up. And when citizens finally decide to tax themselves, they will do it and go and buy poles and transformers and begin to beg PHCN to come and energize them. And at the end of the day, PHCN will come, energize them, and take over those poles and transformers as their own property. Something that you had no idea how these people raised money to buy. And government that should be the regulator will look away. There are things happening in Nigeria that cannot even be imagined in most parts of the world. But here, they happen daily. This country is just one hell of an abnormal place. Next video here buttresses the words of Peter Obi when he said corruption and bad governance is the reason Tinubu projected 2 million barrels per day crude oil production for 2025. He said, if not for corruption, we should be doing far, far more than that. Listen to this Professor Emeritus in Petroleum Economics confirm Obi's words as regards the 2 million barrels per day projection by Tinubu. Let's listen to Professor Iledare.
Or are we on the right path as we head into 2025? Can we comfortably hit the 2 million barrels? Even though sometimes we see OPEC has one number, the NUPRC has another number.
Well, thank you again. I want to commend everybody quickly. I know you don't have a lot of time, but listen, 2 million barrels per day from a 37 billion barrel reserve is nothing. With that 37 billion barrels reserve, you can produce easily 4 million barrels per day. But you do not have the good governance. You are not governing the oil and gas industry in the way it should deliver. If you do that in 2025, I can bet by this time in 2025, with governance structure that is effective, efficient, ethical, and equitable, you produce 4 million.
You heard that. Now, the truth, which is now very known to all those who have been following closely, is that Nigeria actually produces more than 5 million barrels per day. But 2 million barrels is what is declared to the public as what Nigeria produces. The remaining barrels of crude are being exported outside this country by the so-called powerful men and women to their refineries that they have all across the world. Then they will refine and bring petrol back into Nigeria to sell to us. That is the corruption. That is part of the corruption that Peter Obi was talking about. And even Elumelu came out the other day to say that Tinubu should tell us, those who are stealing Nigeria's crude oil, that with the position that he occupies, he cannot claim not to know. But are you going to tell on yourself? Never. Now, let us look at those top stories. First is that statement coming from the Australian government, that very, stinging criticism of the Nigerian environment that can get foreign investors to even start pulling out, let alone talking about people coming in to invest after hearing things like this. And next is that award that was given to Tinubu by journalists and experts all around the world. After careful observation, he has been listed the third most corrupt leader in the world. And Nigerians are saying, who beat him to first and second spots? Let's start by taking that update from the Australian government. Look at how the papers reported it. Don't travel to Nigeria. Civil violence, terrorism likely to break out soon. Australian government. The Australian government has warned its citizens against traveling to Nigeria over the high likelihood of terrorism and breakout of civil unrest. Nigeria Statistics Bureau, in its December crime update, said an estimated 2,235,954 abductions occurred between May 2023 and April 2024. It said the average amount paid as ransom for kidnapping was 2.7 million per incident, with an estimated total ransom of 2.2 trillion paid within the reference period. The Northwest reported the highest ransom paid, with 1.2 trillion, while the Southeast was the least with 85.4 billion. Reconsider your need to travel to Nigeria overall due to the volatile security situation and threat of terrorism, kidnapping, violent crime, and the risk of civil unrest. An updated travel advisory by the Australian government stated. The advisory warned Australians against traveling to Adamawa, Anambra, Imo, Akwa Ibom, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Borno, Cross River, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Kogi, Niger, Plateau, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, and Zamfara due to the volatile security situation. According to the Australian government, there is also a high threat of terrorism, kidnapping, violent crime, and the risk of civil unrest in those states. There is a high risk of terrorist attacks across Nigeria by various militant groups. Attacks could be indiscriminate or may target foreign interest, the travel advisory stressed. You heard that. Now tell me, if you were a foreign investor, would you bring your money into a country like this? A country where kidnapping is a trillion naira industry. Even if you were drunk when you took the decision, by the time you meet your family members and your other business partners, they will clear your eyes. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to this, how this update has marred the prospect of having any foreign investor come in, that mega update, that big disgraceful update dropped on the Tinubu regime. Look at how the papers reported it. Just in, Bola Tinubu tops list of world's most corrupt organized crime persons of the year in 2024. Bola Tinubu of Nigeria has claimed the top spot among a parade of the world's most ruthless corrupt leaders. The infamous award came after the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project called for citizens worldwide to nominate individuals worthy of taking the spotlight for their roles in advancing criminal activities while aggravating poverty. The group, which coordinates a network of investigative journalists and activists around the world, said the Nigerian leader came third after a vote by participants. While Kenyan President William Ruto scored the most votes, Mr. Tinubu was listed as number 3, following former Indonesian President Joko Widodo. The judges acknowledged the importance of public interest and outrage at corruption. Organizers at OCCRP said, Mr. Tinubu, 72, was at the top for his role in entrenching a regime of corruption in Nigeria. He was the governor of Lagos State for 8 years between 1999 and 2003, a period he used to amass enormous wealth for himself and his family. Following his assumption of office in May 2023, Mr. Tinubu quickly moved to award a multi-trillion naira road project to a company run by his son. The proposed Lagos-Calabar route is Nigeria's most ambitious infrastructure project to date, and the controversy did little to allay widespread fears that Mr. Tinubu would raid Nigeria's treasury as he did in Lagos the prior decades. A spokesperson for Mr. Tinubu did not immediately answer a request seeking comments about his unveiling as a globally acclaimed organized crime personality from People's Gazette on Tuesday morning. You heard that. The group OCCRP, Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, is a network of investigative journalists and activists all over the world, and they called for citizens worldwide to nominate individuals that played the most role in advancing corruption in 2024. And of course, most people mentioned William Ruto of Kenya. That's the president of Kenya. That was why he was, rated number one, because of that mega protest that almost collapsed his government. That protest just shot him, out to the world. If Nigeria had 1/10 of the unity that the people of Kenya have, we would have had a protest far, far bigger than what they had in Kenya. I have, followed William Ruto, not so much, but the little I know about him tells me that even Ganduje is more corrupt than him, let alone Tinubu. But it's just happened that that protest pushed his name to the world. Let's look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions to this rating by the OCCRP. Anu Bonge says, see the ranking here. 1, William Ruto. 2, Joko Widodo. 3, Bola Tinubu. This ranking is rigged. How can Tinubu be number 3 when he is supposed to be number 1? Chai! Deji said here sarcastically. He said, another achievement in the bag. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations to all Nigerians as well. It is well. So sad. And Olajide here says, DSS go arrest people tire on this one. The organizers, the ones wey vote, person wey post am here, we wey dey comment, those wey like, retweet, and even those wey just look and waka pass. DSS is coming. That is all they have, to be using DSS to chase people up and down. Now, in this occasion, it was voters all around the world, that gave him that award. So what are they going to do now? Arrest people all around the world? And Orija Ogun here says, Won Okparo, he is a born criminal with a shady past, no known parentage, no brother, no sister, no uncle or aunt or family members. His name, education, and certificates are in doubt. What an award. And Omoya teacher here says, top list of world's most corrupt organized crime persons of the year in 2024. Kenya President William Ruto, former Indonesian President Joko Widodo, and 3, Bola Tinubu. Congratulations, Nigerians. Tinubu has made us proud. Chai, you heard that. Now, there is no form of embarrassment that this government has not brought upon this country in the last 19 months. There is no single area where they are getting it right. I mean, it is possible to snatch power but manage to make a little positive impact. Of course, that was the order of the day during the military, era. People snatch power with guns and they end up leaving some positive impact on people's lives. But in this case, this administration can't even boast of one good thing that they have done. So bad that under 2 years, they have surpassed Buhari. Buhari that everybody called the worst. Nigerians never believed that in the next 32 years, we would have anyone occupying Aso Rock who would be as bad as Muhammadu Buhari. But Tinubu did it under just 2 years. That is the APC outdoing themselves. But I'm not surprised. They are the APC, and this is what they have come for, to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But who are the people at the receiving ends? It is fellow Nigerians. It is the the common man. And that is why we keep saying it, that these people are not even many. It's just few people controlling the affairs of this country. And this is a country of over 200 million people. If the people can cast their sentiments aside, unite and say, no, enough is enough, they will be able to take their country back. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go.